Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala Rasulihil Kareem. Amma ba'd. So he has about 2 or 3 statements regarding the company of the pious. So in the English books, whether you call it the culture code, whether you have it, there's so many other book habits. In all of these books, from a non-Muslim perspective, a non-Islamic perspective, or even non-religious perspective, they will tell you that the people you hang around with has an impact on your ambitions, on the way you approach yourself. That's why, for example, in regard to habits, that even though you have to use the himmah and your willpower to leave a sin, you will always want to create an environment, a mahol, friend circle, which makes it easy for you to leave that sin. You want to read a lot of Quran, become a hafiz. So if you're on your own doing hifz, it's one thing. And if you're in a madrasa where everybody is doing hifz, it's competition, friendly competition, how much you do, you feel that environment, that mahol, everybody's reading, things become easier. In the non-Muslim books, non-Islamic books, non-religious books, they'll talk about, if you hang around people in Silicon Valley, businessmen, automatically you will learn the trade. So that will motivate you. You're part of that circle. Everywhere it goes. Like to get rid of bad company, like I don't know if you go back to like Barcelona in 2007, 8, 9, they were a really good football team. But before that, like Messi is a really good footballer. But when Pep Guardiola came in, he sold Ronaldinho. And Ronaldinho was also, he had won the Ballon d'Or a few years before they won it. Why did he sell him? Because he wasn't trained. He didn't train when he parties a lot. To save Messi for bad company, he sold. It's true. You call it culture, what do you want to call it? Bad company, culture, what do you want to call it? The idea is he sold Ronaldinho. I think even another player as well. I can't remember that. These guys don't train as well and they party a lot. I think going to influence Ronaldo. There's a book called The Barcelona Way. He mentioned that. So a good company is like a musallam. Wherever you go, the company you affect, the people you hang around with, that's going to influence the way you train, the way you behave, how you make money, how you target. And our thing is 2 things. One is ilm and amal. Ilm and amal for us in a religious perspective. You have people who study a lot, their company will motivate you. Those who don't, it will demotivate you. It will not push you there. In terms of a'mal, people, there's masjid, there's people who are coming and going salah, you have friends who go salah, it'll motivate you. So he says that it's very, very important to sit in company. Number 2 is, he says here, that and then for the elders, regarding speaking of that, whether we're speaking of sitting with mashayikh, spend time with mashayikh, sometimes different mashayikh have different dhawq. Like for example, let's say like on a lesser thing, let's say for example, you really like fiqh. So you like fiqh and the teacher is not very fiqh oriented. Teacher likes Arabic adab, teacher likes tafsir a lot, teacher likes another subject. Now you might just get a bit bored. You don't find, like let's say the teacher likes Urdu poetry, Arabic poetry and Persian poetry and he's always quoting this. So now for you the ilm is a bit, it's not as motivating as opposed to if you go to a teacher who teaches fiqh and this in your dhawq. You like history a lot and teachers into that. So that will it'll help you, like it will motivate you in your field. So similarly, when you're looking for somebody as a mentor, it's very, very important that you have munasaba. What does munasaba mean? It doesn't mean that somebody is good or somebody is bad. It just means that you're on the same wavelength. You have similarities in the way you approach, similar goals, similar objectives. Different things. Let's say, for example, somebody is into ilm a lot. And another person, the mentor, is not very ilmy person. He's more to something else. Now it's possible, depending on how his thinking is, how his approach is. He may not really appreciate the efforts of like studying so much, working so hard in writing or teaching, or it's kind of like what's the point of spending 2 hours looking for one of the rawat? And so instead of doing all that, they spend time with tahajjud. And that person who's studying, like, I'll do tahajjud, but I don't spend 8 rakats or 20 rakats. 8 rakats of 2 hours tahajjud, I want to rather talib al-ilm. And even like, it's okay, it's not work kharj karo and doing mutala, spend more time in tahajjud or zikr, etc. So if you don't have that kind of munasabah, you may not get, because you have to trust the person in charge of you. So in charge of meaning, he's your mentor who you will take advice from. So munasabah is very important. But at the same time, if everything that they say you don't like, doesn't mean you don't have munasabah. You following me? Like sometimes that happens, like sometimes in the what do you call it? When you have these people go to counseling, there's like stay from toxic people, which is true. But who's toxic? Your mom and dad. So I've heard stories of people that just like didn't go to their parents' house for like years because the counselor said stay from toxic people, and they said that the toxic people in my life are my parents. And it's possible like you're very, very toxic, but it's possible that like maybe somebody's abusive or something. But normally, even then, Islam will say, okay, you don't have to spend 24 hours with them. Just go meet them. You're older now, go and sit with them, give them gifts, give them hadayas, phone, salam, are you okay? Not just do qata'. So every single, even we're talking yesterday, even in law, there's a law, like for example, like, okay, let's say for example, the law is, you have to be over 18 to do something. And so now, is that really, that law is there to safeguard children from harmful things? But then they can say, okay, what's harmful? Certain things on social media which no government narrative. So the law may seem good and then you can abuse the law. Are you following? Freedom. So freedom is good, but then you can also have abuse of that. So even here, so this is a principle. All principles and all rules can be abused. So the ideal is who is a mentor and who is an elder. You have to have munasaba. But you can also have munasaba because everything that, and they say that, they say, you know what? Come to salah early. Stop being lazy. So I do have munasaba. And then everything that, is like excuse. I don't find any sheikh, any mentor who I have munasaba with. So again, even your nafs going to play a game on you in this one. But the principle is you have to have certain kind of congeality. You have certain same wavelengths, etc. Then inshallah you make progress. That's number 2. And the last point he mentions is that he says here, just by sitting by somebody, किसी के पास निरे रहने से क्या होता है जब तक इंसान को अपनी इस्लाह तरबियत की फिक्र ना हो. Some people think of this as that there's certain objectives and certain paths to it. And if you ever make the path the objective, you're in trouble. So for example, getting close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is you want to train yourself with tahdhib of the nafs. So you have the mentorship of a sheikh, you have a mentorship of an elder teacher. So some people shouldn't think, oh, I am close to my teacher, that's it, kamyab ho gaye, they're successful. And after you come close to a teacher, you don't learn from his knowledge, you don't learn from his nasiha, from his teachings, and you just feel like, oh, I'm close to my teacher. So he says that's no benefit until you don't rectify yourself. And sometimes, he mentioned other places, if you come close to a person, and that makes you more arrogant, you step into tawuf, you step into tazkiyah, and that makes you more arrogant, that's dar for you. So you come close to that person, you think, I'm the best. You don't change your akhlaq, you don't change your behavior, you don't do anything. And now you think, oh, I'm better than everybody else because I just have relationship with the teacher, with the sheikh, with the mentor. There's no benefit in that. Just by being close until you don't rectify yourself. You follow? Just by being close. Who was close? Abu Jahl was in Makkah. Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul was Munafiq, was in Medina. And people were far away. Mu'adh Jabal had to go all the way to Yemen. So, أَوْلَى النَّاسِ بِالْمُتَّقُونَ. So yeah, staying in somebody's company is very good because you learn a lot. You learn very fast. But just sit in the company when you don't do anything with that, it's a kushna, there's no benefit in that.